Just keep plugging episode 2, Battle of the Eras.
It says live.
I know. I mean, this whole restream is just all different now on my screen. It says we're recording. This is
we're good. We're good.
This is just classic production. I was
We're
about to go off on production tonight, and my production might be early LVP tonight. But we are here, episode 2, for the third time. I think I've said that tonight. Battle of the Eras. What do we think, boys? 8 eliminations. To be honest, didn't think it was possible. Here we are. I'm shocked. I am fucking shocked. Andy, opening thoughts.
You got to believe in something, Trev. This is season 40. It's different this year. They know they sent no one home EP1. They knew they had to follow that up with a banger. What do? They give us a banger filled with bangers. It was almost like a banger cake, and inside it's like little mini cupcakes, but those mini cupcakes are just more bangers. Banger on banger, headbanger, headbanger, headbanger. Like, not only was this 8 eliminations, it was 8 great eliminations. I'm not a big fan of that last one, that tie me up or whatever, but oh my God, this was just, it was nonstop. It was nonstop action. It was like an highlight reel.
It almost, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, when you just go to like best eliminations on YouTube and it's just elimination after elimination, it kind of felt like a YouTube video we were kind of watching. Alex, thoughts on tonight?
I really liked it. I think it was one of the more unique episodes we've had in like several years, just because it literally was just eliminations. And we saw some of the house drama. They kind of jumped back and forth. It was kind of like watching like a Tarantino movie with the non-linear timeline. But there was no daily or anything like that. And we were just like there. We were just there in the elimination round or for, 90 straight minutes. And episode 3 isn't going to be like that. Episode 4 that's probably like the just like this, it's era invitational. Like, that's just going to be the thing to kick this season off. But I really like tonight's episode, and I'm really looking forward to episode 3 to kind of like having a daily. I would think to have like kind of like the 4 teams are all now 8 people each instead of 10. Like, start the daily, go through the elimination, kind of see what the format's going to be like. But I really liked tonight. It was just back to back to back. I loved it.
Did either of you guys get a little bit mumbo jumbo-y like halfway through this episode? Like, halfway through this episode, I was like, wait, who's already been eliminated? Like, halfway through, I was like, I don't remember who's been eliminated. I don't know, but I love it, and I'm just in. Did either of you guys like, or were you keeping track of like so-and-so eliminated, so-and-so? I was just like locked in, and then after like the first 45, I was like, wait, is Anissa still here?
Well, that was the weird thing and something I want to talk about tonight is the editing of tonight's episode. I know Alex brought in the Tarantino reference. I thought the editing was very weird tonight. Like, don't get me wrong, I thought the episode was good. I wasn't a huge fan of how they edited this episode. I don't like how we started off, and maybe we'll just dive right in here. I don't like how we went straight into an elimination, and we didn't get the backstory. Like, we didn't see any of the vote. Like I think it's a classic moment where you see up on the wall, and maybe let me go this route with you, even going further back. Why not do that in the last 10 minutes of the last episode? Like, you did an hour 20 episode. Just put that in. Like, I just felt like it was so weird, like, to seeing them show up. Moments like that. What, you disagree?
No, I agree. Continue.
And then, literally, I don't get.
I disagree.
I think that was dumb. And then to add on, the part where they're grabbing the little boards, why are we not seeing that live? Like,
I get your point. I do think, though, that I feel like we have kind of complained about the alternative the past several years, which is like we see too much of the voting, too much of the deliberation, and they spend, 30 minutes in the middle of an episode talking about, Josh wants to vote Anissa, but then Casey comes up and says, no, you can't do that. And then they nominate 3 teams, but then you get to save one of the teams. Like, I feel like that's one of the things that just takes up a huge chunk of the episodes that usually suck. And I think that they could definitely find a better happy medium where, like, we do see some of it, but not necessarily this whole stretch. But I think it was kind of like, I kind of like the change of pace of just saying, like, hey, we're right there. And I do like that they did give us some of the background of, like, hey, this is why they voted Kara in. Like, it wasn't in the traditional sequence, but I still feel like it kind of accomplished everything.
I just don't understand why you don't put that at the end of last episode. You had 10 extra minutes. You cut the episode short. Why not throw that in there?
Because you needed 10 minutes of ridiculousness. Correct. That was what the 10 minutes were.
See, like, I don't know.
Trev, I'm with you because it felt very weird. Like when it jumped in and we saw who was already there without seeing the votes. But to Alex's point, I would much rather have the episode that we had today where we had all 8 in there. We got to see everything. It was a banger of an episode. It kind of sucks that we missed out on a little bit of the like suspense, but they were just like, who cares about that? This is the Eras Invitational. Let's just jump in, dive in, and get going. And after like the first 5 minutes of being like, oh, we didn't see the votes. Oh, we didn't see the eliminations. I didn't think about it again. I was just like, we're in, let's go.
Yeah. I think Mikey the Doctor kind of makes a good point. He says that episode 0, 1, and 2 all just feel like one big episode. I kind of agree. That's kind of where I land on all of this. Like, we had the special to meet the cast. We had like the daily challenge last week, and we had tonight with 8 eliminations. Like, you combine all of that and you have one long
3-hour, 50-minute
episode,
movie.
But it kind of accomplishes most of what you would see in like the original, like the usual episode 1. So now I feel like episode 3 next week is kind of like your next episode 1. Yeah.
I mean,
we haven't had a daily. We're going on 2.5 if you count episode 0. We're going on 2.5 episodes without having a daily, like a real normal daily.
I wonder if they're doing the like the seasons, like the little trilogies. What if we're going to get another like 3 episodes? So then that's really going to be like episode 2 once we get the next trilogy done.
So then are we back into the chaos, conquer? What was the other one?
It's going to be 8 episodes.
Control.
It's going to be 8 episodes that are 4 hours long each. It's going to be nuts. Yeah, but like, talking about the editing, and I mean, we've gone on for years talking about this complaint. I mean, challenge Twitter. I mean, what are we doing?
Terrible.
Explain it to Andy.
They spoiled it earlier.
How so?
They tweeted out saying Kara was going in.
Yeah, that's something awesome. we just as viewers clearly did not know. Just spoiling the episode with like, and they tweet it, with all the exclamation points to try to get people excited. We didn't know Kara was fucking going in. So they tell us that, and then they tweet like in 1 hour till episode 2 or whatever, and then they don't tweet for the rest of the night. It's just absurd.
I mean, if they want to pay me, I'm happy to live tweet for them. Like, it's not that hard. That intern, like, I understand budget cuts are tough with BME these days, but like, you can't just live tweet? I mean, come on.
It's absurd.
I guess, though, Alex, would you rather take – I'm thinking about last year what they did when I'm guessing like an intern just watched the episode and he's like, by like 9:15, let me just set this tweet because this is what's going to happen there. Everything like 5 minutes early before it actually happened.
So the scheduled tweets last season, were they early or late?
They were early. They were like
so
5 minutes early.
They would say like Darrell's going into elimination when we haven't seen that yet.
We haven't even seen the deliberation yet. So it was like some intern, like he's like with his stopwatch. He's like, the episode's going to be around this time. Let me think, 9:06. Let's send out Darrell. And like Darrell's like 9:15.
That's right.
God.
That's awesome.
That's probably why they're not doing it this season. They're probably like, let's just stop tweeting entirely.
I mean, that's just out of control. Instead, they just spoil it before. So All right, moving on. Positive episode, like I said. It was just little nitpicks, and I hate to nitpick because it was a really good episode. Right into the eliminations. We start off with Era 3. We had Naya versus Amanda, Tony versus Leroy, balls in. What'd you guys think? We'll start off with the Naya versus Amanda.
Was anyone else confused on the rules here? Like, I was watching, and then like Amanda got hers in, but I don't know if it was fault to Naya because like Naya knocked her out of the circle and then just clearly gave up, and then Amanda went and got it in. I don't know how much of that was on Naya versus like production not making things clear. But then there was also like a mini circle, almost like the paint in basketball, and it seemed like as long as you got into the paint, you got a point. Like,
Dumb.
did you guys pick up on that? I couldn't follow this at all.
No, so essentially, I feel like balls in years past, like if you drop the ball, it's game over, essentially.
Yeah.
So
Amanda
basically,
shot and missed and picked it back up and kept going.
correct. So that happened. Don't understand. The goal line, like the NFL, it's like you just reach across the line, touchdown, you win. Like that's easy. That's like the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah,
So-
it's definitely the challenge becoming soft, trying to make it more safe. I think they did this on the Ride or Dies finale. I think this is where the first time where they introduced this type of rule. It was Jordan and Anissa versus maybe Bananas and Nani. Wait, yeah, I think that was it. And they basically made an inner circle there and said if you get in the inner circle, you win. Like it, but at that point, it's not balls in; it's balls across the circle. But I think that was a stupid rule. But I'm glad that Naya was able to beat Amanda.
Agreed.
Tony time. I love it. Love to see you in the chat. We're about to go into that after the Naya versus Amanda elimination. What do we think about those two? I mean, obviously on paper, Andy, you're the betting guy. What are the odds?
Naya and
Minus
Amanda.
1,000?
No, I mean it's a kind of a fluky-ish game at times. I mean, Naya had a wide open dunk and just like threw it off and missed, but then also was able to go back and get it. So it's tough to put lines when I don't know the rules, but I would still say Naya probably like minus 550.
Also, did you guys hear? Correct me if I'm wrong. When it was 1-1, did
Yes.
he say if Amanda scores here, she wins? There's no like second chance? Are you kidding
Yes.
me?
I think they skipped around entirely for the girls.
Huh?
Like not showing it. I mean,
Oh, like they went multiple rounds?
yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I heard that. I was like, wait, what?
I heard that as well. It made no sense.
Anything else? I mean, obviously Naya, stronger, bigger, kind of dominated after the first round. But
Do
Alex,
we have like any last thoughts on Amanda or seeing her go or anything like that?
See ya.
she makes good TV. I mean, it was just
Does she?
I kind of smirked at it. I'm not gonna lie.
It's annoying as hell.
I mean,
Like, she's
but
not
doing it
just like
she's doing it for her kids. Come on, It's
kid.
for the kids. FTK.
This one.
For
But
the kid.
I watched Home Turf. But
Oh, come on! No,
All right.
get this guy
just-
out.
there's one thing to be like the like villain role, but if you can compete and you're competitive and you're like well respected at the same time, that makes for good TV. This is just like, who are you kidding? Like, you weren't good then, you're not good now, you're worse now. No one likes you. You think that's kind of a fun thing. Oh, look, I'm the devil. See ya. Like, no one likes you. You go home right away. What do you expect?
Mm-hmm. Alex, anything?
No, I agree. I mean, I feel like Amanda her personality would be like a good reality TV thing somewhere else, somewhere that's not the challenge. Like
Perfect.
we've had a dozen other girls the past few seasons that have like, just like been better at the challenge, been more entertaining people. Amanda is just like, it just seems forced all of the time. So I'm glad to see her go.
All right, moving on. Tony, Leroy. I mean, Tony time. We got to hear from you. What'd you think? But Andy first.
Awesome. Tony came to play. He was looking good. Leroy was looking bad. Like, I was way more impressed with Tony than I was unimpressed with Leroy. Would you guys agree?
I agree. I think. Actually, now that I think about it, you said repeat that again one last time.
Do you want me to whiteboard?
I got swip swap.
I was more impressed with Tony than I was unimpressed with Leroy.
I was just disappointed in Tony or in Leroy. Like I don't know, man. That was tough to watch.
I probably would have put the line at like Tony minus 5,000.
Oh, come on. Jesus Christ. Alex, thoughts?
I mean, this was like probably the most fun elimination that I think I watched tonight. Just a close matchup with two guys that, we both love here on the pod that have both, been like a strong part of sort of that era 3 of the challenge. But I mean, I'm glad Tony won. We had, basically none of him on All-Stars. And I just like keep going back to Leroy, like in terms of the impressions for Leroy. The guy's done like 13 seasons at this point, has never won, and I don't think he's ever gonna win. Like, he's not destined to win. And then you go back to the fact that era 3 had like 5 guys that we all kind of like all well-rounded, good challengers. Like, one of them was going to be in last place out of that team. And to me, it's not really surprising that it was Leroy, because like Leroy, I feel like all he does on the challenge is underwhelm us.
It's just so heartbreaking because I want Leroy to win. And he just, I don't know. Let me ask you guys this. Does anybody see Leroy coming back now? Or is this the end?
It's never the end.
I don't know how many he's got left in him, Alex.
He retired and came back 2 seasons later.
That's awesome.
I think, especially with this season, it's very hard to say that anyone's done. I mean, what's his face? Mark is 50. Legitimately.
I mean, that's absurd.
He almost qualifies to be like considered a senior citizen.
Jesus.
He's on the challenge. He did a pole wrestle.
God. Against the pole wrestle king.
We'll get into
God. It. All right. Do we want to segue into that? Or do we have any other?
I just want to say one statement with Tony. I mean, Tony fucking reigns, the man, though. I mean, I'm so happy for him. And the way he did it, too. I mean, he dominated. It wasn't even close. I hope this kind of, they kind of teased a little Bananas hatred there. I wonder if that's going to come into play. I mean, it's not like the challenge to foreshadow anything, but Andy, you looked like you were about to say something.
Yeah, it makes me think of something, Trev, and I want to get your thoughts. So this is like Tony's resurgence into the show. He's back on. We haven't seen him in a while. It's almost like he's kind of new. And it seems like me and you are really the only ones all in. I'm getting a lot of Ed from the Circle vibes with me and you as it relates to Tony. Wouldn't you agree? Me and you seem to be all in, and that's really about it from the start of the pod team.
Oh, you're saying, oh, yeah, of course, me and you. I mean, the alliance, we go like this, we're all in, but, Alex down there.
Well, I think there was someone missing from the All-Stars recaps where we said we were going to commit to recapping every episode that Tony was on.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that was me and Alex?
Yeah, we did.
We're talking All-Stars?
Playoffs?
We're talking All-Stars?
We got to get some more info from, I think, Tony Time in the chat here. Who is Tony Time?
I think it's actually Tony.
I love the new profile pic. The Mayo.
He just changed it like a minute ago.
It's awesome.
All right. Any other Tony Roy Lee thoughts?
I just think I'm fired up to see Tony the rest of the season. He's locked in.
He's smirky.
He's going to bring more to the table than Leroy this season as well.
Ooh.
Leroy, love him, great guy, always kind of underwhelming in terms of competition. He's also kind of underwhelming in terms of entertainment. Sue me. Like he had the one like, why do I feel like you're the power couple? That whole thing with Wes was awesome, but that was driven by Wes. And aside from that, like Leroy's just always kind of there. There's that thing with Camilla that we don't really need to go into, but like Roy Lee is just kind of like he's just a good hang. Like he just looks like a chill guy, but I don't want to just watch that when you're in the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Tony's awesome.
We need a food challenge with Tony this season. Bod.
Please.
Real bod.
Could you imagine like a BK challenge?
Nuggets.
How many Whoppers do you think he could eat in 10 minutes? You think he could get like 5 easily?
Easy.
Yeah.
I think he could go for 10.
Oh, come on. 1 a minute?
Did you watch Tony Time with the Mayo?
Whoppers?
Whopper.
All right, let's get to the next thing here.
BK, have it your way. You rule. All right, moving on. Pole wrestle. Era 1, excuse me. Derek and Mark, Anissa and Katie. We'll start off with the pole wrestle king. Is that the first time we've heard somebody, we always joke about the puzzle king, the puzzle queen. Is this the first time pole wrestle king has been used?
I believe so.
And who else to give it that title to Derek other than Derek?
I was really hoping he was going to lose, so my prediction would be right. I was so damn
about that.
Oh, nothing would have been smirkier than that. Just literally. Yeah, I can talk so much about the show. Well, I was only on for 1 episode. Nothing would have been better than that.
He does a little podcast. My experience on Battle for the Eras in 2 minutes. It's just him vlogging on the flight there and the flight back.
Hey guys, I'm excited for the challenge. It's gonna be awesome. Let's go. And then it's gonna be literally like, hey guys, I lost.
It wasn't my time this
Wasn't my
season, I'll be back.
He's gonna be like, sorry, Sonder, my son. Like, it's just gonna be couldn't pull out the dub. It's a disgrace. I also love during their confessionals, they're like, my reputation's gonna be tarnished and stuff.
Yeah.
What? He's like, I need to prove everybody wrong. I mean, who has ever said anything bad about Derek in like his record and stuff like that? I mean, come on.
And who in the last 7 years has ever thought about Derek's legacy on the challenge? Are people staying up at night being like, man, I wish he could have got a ring. Like, he should have won this one. If only it was a pole wrestle when he got sent home.
God, that's good. So yeah, it was Mark versus Derek. What'd you think about Mark's performance in this? I mean, how old is he? 51, you said, Anthony?
I think he's 53 now, but he was 52 during the filming.
He's a
He
decade.
looks like it.
Derek is old as shit, and Mark is a decade older than him.
Derek looks bad, and not bad in a good way.
I thought it was a fun matchup to watch. I was obviously rooting for Mark to win. The size discrepancy was about 1.5 feet, probably. And you get somebody who has any experience. I wouldn't call him the king necessarily, but any experience in pole wrestles like that. And if he's able to know how to use his size to an advantage, like that's just tough, especially when you're going against a 60-year-old. So
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe he's 53 years old still doing this shit.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever see another person make more from Social Security than from the challenge. It's impressive.
God, Derek is just so damn scrappy too, which is kind of crazy being, how old is he? You said 44, 45?
I think he's 42.
Oh, whatever. Kind of crazy. And then the other pole wrestle, and I kind of just want to give the floor to Andy first because I kind of just want him to run wild with this or roll wild with this. Anissa and Katie, let's hear it.
I mean, I don't know if it was just me here in Indiana, but about 30 seconds into that elimination, it was just like,
No.
I mean, I had a picture fell off of one of my lamps. It just fell off, shattered, broken. It was like Twisters is a big movie now, but no one's talking about Earthquake. I mean, it was kind of that like, you know, when Anissa saw that, she was like, oh, thank God. Like, I'm going to make this. And poor Katie. There was one time when Anissa smushed her, and it kind of reminded me of like in Mario Party when that big block, if you try to pass him without paying it and it just squashes you and you turn into like a pancake and then you kind of float up. That's how I felt for Katie. Like, this was like she had to lose, otherwise she would have died. It kind of would have been like, let's say like when you're kids and you're kind of wrestling around with someone who's like significantly bigger than you, and then they just like sit on you until you're like, I literally can't breathe. That's kind of what this gave me vibes of. It was just like, this needs to stop.
Trev, what do you think?
I mean, there was no chance. There was absolutely no chance Katie had tonight. So yeah, congrats on Anissa. I think this is her first win in how many years? 10 plus, right?
I don't know.
But she's the elimination queen.
Yeah. So good for her. Alex, anything?
Does Anissa beat Katie in any of the other 3 eliminations?
Hallbra, maybe.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Because I think in the balls in,
maybe not balls in.
I think Katie could win.
Katie would at least have a shot in balls in. And then the last one, the shelter one, Anissa might just get tired in the starting half. Like when they're blocking their own gate, Anissa might just quit then.
And Hall Brawl would kind of be like the visualization of the whole mantra of like the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, of like Katie's not getting past her. She would have to somehow jump over her, and that just wouldn't happen.
I'm picturing her in balls in, like Caitlin Clark just shooting every single time. God. All right, moving on. Era 4. We go to Jesus. Era 4. We go to Hallbro. And we start off with Theo and Paulie, which I'm surprised Era 4 wasn't the last. I think this would have been the best one to end with. I was kind of surprised with the order of tonight's stuff. Why not just go like 1, 2, 3, 4? But I guess that will be another day for discussion. But Hall Brawl, Theo versus Paulie. Alex, thoughts?
It was everything I hoped for. It was the main event, as even Paulie was trying to classify it as. This is everything I hoped for. I've been all in on Theo since he was a rookie, and getting him being able to get his revenge in a not just like a one-on-one elimination, but like the most physical, most like head-on, literally elimination that they could have gotten. And I don't know if it was the editing or what, but like right before it started, I was thinking like, is there a way Paulie can fucking win this? Like, I don't want that to happen, but like, could he kind of get low? Theo's a tall as shit guy. Like, there is a world where someone who's better than Paulie, but maybe around Paulie's size, could like figure something out. And then they do that first round, and Theo just fucking sits him down on his ass. Paulie falls, and you knew no matter like what Paulie was going to try for the second round or whatever, like you knew it was Theo. Theo was not going to lose that at that point. And for Theo to win in such like a dominating way, probably the most dominating Hall Brawl we've had since the old Big Easy Wes one. I wouldn't say it was that level because Big Easy, I think, literally rang the bell with Wes's head. People forget that. But I would say that Theo beating Paulie is like second on that list. I loved it.
Andy?
Fucking chew. He ragdolled him. It was like, and what I loved about it too, and this is like just to production, just the little chef's kiss going into this. They showed the deliberation clip again where Paulie just looking like a huge asshole. You know, me and you got beef. If you want to take me out, call me out. Call me out. Do it. And then it's just Theo being like, still very confident, but just like, all right, somebody on this team's got to take you out. I guess it's going to be me. Like, not being an asshole, just being like, all right, fine. If you want to smoke, I'll give it to you. Bring it on. And then he just backs it up, sits him on his ass. The close-up clips, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but like seeing Paulie's face after the initial pop for both of those when he's just, it was just priceless of like, oh no, you're going home, buddy. It was awesome. Loved it. Highlight of the episode.
I mean, you guys both said it. I mean, Paulie got lit up, which I think we all agree, fucking incredible. Just so awesome. So
that's why I picked Hall Brawl as my Mount Rushmore of eliminations.
And I like to also bring up, you're talking about past things. I mean, people do forget. Me and Andy on Team Theo from day one. We read that like a book.
Yep.
I think that was one of our best work, Andy. I think
it was.
We
got an eye for talent, just like Chris Ballard.
God, watch it. Doesn't he have a losing record?
Yes.
God. All right, moving on. Olivia versus Nerys. Alex, I'll start with you. What'd you think about the elimination?
It was exactly what you would kind of expect. I think the drama in this one was almost I feel like this is probably the strongest thing to your point in terms of the editing, because they kind of just said Olivia's going in. And we even saw Michelle say in the deliberation room when they went back to it, she kind of wanted to vote in Ginny. And so I wish we would have gotten maybe a few more minutes of that. But once it ends up being Olivia and Nerys, I feel like you knew Olivia was going to win. It was pretty close. Nerys, especially in that second round, was kind of hanging on a little bit. They were definitely both in very provocative positions. I'll just leave it at that throughout the course of that hallway. But at the end of the day, you knew Olivia was going to be able to figure it out. So I don't know. Like Nerys, it's like when you get these small teams out of the 5 girls on Era 4, I would have liked to see Casey go home first, but like she is like probably the second best girl on that team. So you knew that probably wasn't going to happen. And I would have liked to see, I guess, Olivia go home before this, because in case you didn't know, Nerys and Horacio are actually dating. And so now Horacio has to kind of go at this thing alone without his girlfriend. So I'm sad to see Nerys go, I guess, but like it was pretty easy to predict what was going to happen.
I think you could have put any girl against Nerys, and I think Nerys would have lost. So I do think Nerys put up a crazy good fight, though. I don't know why Olivia was grabbing her ankle in the one, but I don't know. Andy, thoughts?
Yeah, there was one time during the second round where Nerys had, I mean, she was obviously in her own side the whole time, but there was a time where she was standing up, and not only was Olivia on the ground, she was on her back, and it looked like she was still trying to drag her to the middle, where like I just wish she would have tried to just break loose and run for it. Because if you're on your back and someone takes off and then you have to like get up and go, I think Nerys could have done it, but it also seemed like Olivia was holding on to her a lot too. So I'm personally kind of upset to see Nerys go because I like Nerys. However, I was already done with the Nerys Horacio. So that whole shtick, I'm glad that's over. But I do like Nerys.
Alex?
What about you?
Well, I thought this one was pretty chalky. Like, I felt like Olivia had the weight. She was stronger. And like I said earlier, I think Nerys goes up against anybody in Era 4 and she loses. So,
Yeah.
Agreed.
all right, moving on. Last ones.
Era 2.
Era 2. And we got, let me pull it up. We had the shelter one, which, let me ask you guys this. Is this the first time we've had 2 eliminations going on at the same time?
Possibly.
I don't think I've ever seen like a separate where it's like, yes, 4 people have gone at the same time, obviously, 2v2 teams, but 2 separate games at the same time. A guy's version and a girl's version at the same time. I don't think that's happened, right?
We'll get our stats guys on it.
Something I want to talk about, it was obviously Cara versus Kellyanne. I saw the chat earlier said we all knew Cara was going in. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we all thought Kellyanne was getting voted in, right?
You mean Aviv?
Aviv, sorry. Yeah. We didn't think Cara was getting voted in.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that was the biggest surprise voting wise of any of the decisions.
Like, why do you think they did that move? Like, obviously, like, I feel like you're shooting your shot too early.
I think I was on record saying that's the right pick.
I agree.
Now we're switching? I mean, come on.
No, I was not switching. I was on that hill. I've always said Viva Aviv.
Oh, come on.
I just think when you have a format like that, they don't know exactly what it's going to be, but based on the Era Invitational, you would think that you're going to continue going against people on your own team. And like the casket's really small at that point. Like if you're Laurel, you have 4 other girls on your team and someone's going home no matter what. So like there's only going to be 3 other girls. And so I think you figure like you have to go in against somebody, like get Cara out if you can while you can. And I feel like Cara would have done the same thing back to Laurel. I don't know. But I just feel like the season gets so small once you start looking at like the format of what you know, at least at this point. And so good for her for taking a shot. I kind of liked it.
God. Andy, it looks like Tony time's coming for your throat here. Cara, the right pick. Does this kid watch the challenge?
Look, I said what I thought was going to be the right choice, and you know who backed my decision? Johnny fucking Bananas.
Wow.
Now, I do think, and obviously Laurel and her have plenty of beef. Bananas talked about some timing thing during the Tarantino part of it where it was kind of a flashback. But then it also had Paulie crying and looking like just a huge little baby back bitch. So at that point, I was like, I don't even care. I like Cara. I do. There, I said it. I hate fucking Paulie. So the fact that it was like Paulie crying, trying to plead his case. Why would you do that? Dude, it's a fucking game. Chill out. Act like you've been here before.
Alex, can you explain to me, I know you're big in Cara and Paulie, and I think you went on their cruise. They broke up, correct?
No.
Oh, I thought they broke up.
I think they talked about that on episode 0. They're like 6 years in.
No, I thought they broke up. Like they're not dating anymore. Like as of today. Did I not see it? Am I wrong?
Why are you acting like I'm aware of that when clearly you have some sort of insider knowledge?
I thought she tweeted that or something. I could be wrong. I don't know. Chat, I might just be losing it. I don't know.
You are. OK Squid brings up a good question because I actually had this internal thought tonight. Paulie versus Fezzi. They're the worst fucking people on the planet. Like, they should be thrown in jail just for like how big of douchebags they are. I cannot. And maybe it's because I feel like Paulie hasn't been on in a couple seasons, but Paulie fucking sucks. He is awful. I'm so glad he's gone. I'm so glad he went out the way that he did with Theo just daddying him in a hall brawl. He is the worst. But I think Fezzi's a little bit worse.
Ooh. So
But it's close. It is very close.
is that so for you, Andy? And I don't want to get off the rails, but it's already off the rails. Worst competitor of all time. Fezzi's number one for you.
Yeah.
And then it's Paulie too. It's that close.
So.
Or is there anybody
Yeah.
else? I know Jessica for you is also another person, but Jessica doesn't come close.
I think Paulie's too. I hate Paulie.
Wow. Get those paired up on a team and have Andy talk about it for a season.
Please.
God, that'd be bananas, Johnny. So this elimination, Gimme Shelter, whatever it's called, definitely the weakest of the four. I think we can all agree on that. Cara beats what's it called? Cara beats Kellyanne. Ryan beats Brandon. I was high on Brandon this season. You guys both had him like last. I fell into the trap. Hand up. I lost. So, friend of the program, Kellyanne. Sucks to see her. Weren't we just doing this like 20 minutes ago? God.
Brandon's
program,
you remember when Brandon was laughing at, or like, you guys want to vote me in? Yeah, dude. Look around. What do you expect?
God. That's awesome.
I mean, so this elimination was the worst of the four. I'm glad that it fell to Era 2 because you get a matchup like Brandon and Ryan. You really don't care what happens either way. You're just glad that they don't take up, a Tony versus Leroy balls in elimination, for example. And then girls-wise, I kind of liked it for Era 2 as well because this was the flukiest one. And I feel like this gave Kellyanne somewhat of a shot at winning. And it looked like it was decently close. Whereas, Kellyanne and Cara in a hall brawl, like clearly that's Cara. So I like that this one, again, the worst elimination of the four. And so because of that, I'm glad it fell to like the worst guys matchup and also like the one girls matchup where it made them both on a much even or playing field.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
That's a great point. I didn't think about it like that. Like this was the perfect elimination to just give to the people we don't really care to see in a headbanger.
Yeah. The only thing they could have done better was probably swap the order of the last two so that we end the episode with the hall brawl as opposed to this one.
Yeah. The order of this was very random, made no sense. It was kind of like our recap last episode when Alex was starting with the Era 1 guys and then somehow went to the Era 2 girls. And it was just like, what are we doing here? Those are kind of the vibes that I got in terms of order.
God. And yeah, that was kind of the end of the episode. The one last thing we kind of got into was this karma point thing. How do you guys think that's going to play out? Like, you think it's going to be like used in the finale where it's essentially just going to be like, oh, here's a 2-minute time penalty. Oh, here's a plus 5 minutes. You're going to be better or whatever. Like, how do we think?
I just hope my gut reaction to this little twist was I don't like it. In fact, I hate it, at least in terms of what we know so far. But I guess my only hope for it is that I hope that there's some sort of buffer in terms of like whatever they're doing, which we'll learn part of it, I would assume, next week. I hope there's some sort of buffer between that and the actual impact. And what I mean by that is like, I don't want it to be like, everybody gave, let's say Cara's in the final and everybody gave Cara the lowest score. So she has like a 30-minute penalty. I don't want it to be something like that, but like I could see them doing something where it's like, Cara, you had 4 people get eliminated who gave you a 0 out of 5. Can you name those 4 people? And she at least has a chance to like guess and like do something about it. I just don't want it to be like a direct impact on the people. I just think that's just a totally random thing that they've never done before. I don't like when people. I would almost rather them do a redemption house. I wouldn't want that to happen because then it's going to add another 8 episodes. But like, if you're out of the show, in my opinion, you're out of the show.
You brought up something. I'm not gonna lie. When they stood around, my heart did skip a beat for a second. If they were about to send those clowns watching White Lotus season 2, like I would have been so pissed. Andy, sorry, you were about to say something.
No, I was right there with you. I was like, are you kidding me? We finally had episode 1, no elimination. Episode 2 makes up for it with 8 people going home, and now you're telling me no one's going home. I think it almost has to impact the next daily because 2 reasons. One, it was out of these 5 people that were given to them. Like they didn't pick the 5 best or the worst. Like it seemed like they were given a list, rank these people, and you almost have to do it the next episode in order for it to work. And what I mean by that is like if they want it to be, it matters how you treat people, then the people playing the game still in the show have to know that there's an impact. And if they find out in the first daily that, hey, Amanda hates Tori, she's getting penalized because of it, then people actually start to change their mindsets. Because if you just do it at the end and the players are like, oh, we didn't even realize this was happening, it kind of loses the purpose. But if you do it early on, then it's almost like Survivor, because I think that's how Survivor is, because like the jury at the end, the people gone still vote for you, but you know that, so you have to be cognizant. So I think they're going to do it next episode. Long-winded answer.
What if they did it in reverse? Like I think somebody said like I want to give Banana 0 points instead of 5 points or whatever. What if it was the person with the lowest points wins?
It's a dirty game.
Like, how sweet would that be? Like, that plot twist would be awesome.
I like that.
Yeah. Anything else from tonight's episode before we get into some segments? Nothing? All right. This day in challenge history, Alex, what do you got?
All right. This day in challenge history, the first one is going to be on Rivals 2. This first one's a trivia question. On Rivals 2, on this day, August 21st, I'm going to keep trying to tie it back to season 40. So, on this day, somebody on season 40 beat somebody else on season 40 in an elimination. They both had partners, neither of whom are on this season. What was that elimination?
Kara beating somebody.
Male or female? Is that too much of a hint?
It was male.
CT.
It was
elimination, did they?
I said Rivals 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Rivals 2. Anybody in the chat? I'm surprised. This hint might give it away. It was.
This is usually about the time Boogie Brown has his first message in the chat. Watches, stays silent the whole time, just waits for this day in challenge history.
It was like one of the best eliminations of the whole season.
Rivals 2.
There you go, Mikey.
I was just.
Jordan and Marlon beat Leroy and Ty. It's Jordan and Leroy both on this season.
Well, not anymore.
That was the only trivia question I had for this day in challenge history, but I did have to mention this. We've done this before. We've talked about the episode titles of past seasons before. On this day in challenge history on Fresh Meat 1, the episode title was Kenny and Tina's Triumph. So in case you were wondering if Kenny and Tina were going to lose, No, you could just go to guide and see the episode title.
Alex, I think what we have to do next offseason is a Mount Rushmore of episode titles.
Ooh,
I think we have to do that.
that's a good one.
That would require some studying.
Oh, it would be. It's like the challenge episode 1. It's just called like the challenge. It's just so smirky. West Side Story.
A big culprit, I think, was the duel. It was like so long, Derek.
God, isn't the episode called Pastagate too?
Oh, is it?
I think it is.
No,
I gotta look.
see that would actually that'd be a great Mount Rushmore because some of them like Pastagate would just be so smirky, but then others like so long, Derek. That's just awesome.
Like, do we know what tonight's was called?
Yeah, the invitation part 2.
Era Invitational.
It was the invitation part 2. I swear to God.
That's kind of smirky.
It was Final Reckoning, right?
They do a lot of like play on words. Like a hard J's night, I think, was last season.
Yes.
What
West Side
season? What
Story.
season was the Pastagate? Was that Final Reckoning?
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't called that.
That's a good idea. I like the episode titles.
God, I'm looking at Final Reckoning. Does this count? Episode 23, CT getting married, part 1. God.
God, all right. Is that it for this day in challenge history?
I'm watching Pluto right now at X's 2. The episode title is pretty weak. It's just called Love Hurts.
God, how about Rivals opening episode? Welcome to the jungle. Come on.
They really had the crack team on that one.
Cutthroat episode 1. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's a good title.
That's all I got for this day. I think we go to Radar Watch, which
episode 10. Checkmate.
Is Radar Watch kind of cheating tonight?
Ooh, that's a good point.
I think there's a really good person tonight on Radar.
Well, it was just the eliminations. Like half the cast was just standing in the background.
So like last week, my pick last week was Niedermeyer and Nehemiah. And I think he was shown twice tonight. So I got to go. Yeah, he had 2 confessionals. Oh. I think somebody didn't show up tonight. And we're going to be like, this person's on the season? Can I just go? Or is this...
Honestly, real question.
I swear to God, if you're going to say the person I'm about to say, I'm going to be pissed.
Is Casey on this show?
Yes, Casey's on this season.
Are we sure?
Yes. So Casey's your Radar Watch?
Yeah. I'm still convinced she's not on this season.
You know who I didn't see tonight? Darrell.
Oh, that was going to be my pick.
Darrell was not shown at all tonight.
He's not on this season.
Come on. God. Alex, do you have another pick?
All right, my pick.
I have another one.
My pick, because it was very noticeable that this person was not on my screen, because whenever they are on my screen, I am paying very much attention to her and to everything about her. I'm going to go with my Radar Watch as Avery.
Yep.
She had 1 comment tonight. Did she? Maybe not. Actually.
I think unless Avery's shown like 3 times minimum, it should qualify as Radar Watch, just so that way we try to get more and more out of her.
Exactly.
So I kind of have like 2 honorable mentions. One's got to be Jody. I don't think Jody was shown tonight either.
Jody, like from way back in the day, she's not on this season.
God. And I think this honorable mention might be the first honorable mention where I don't think you saw this person, but you could just hear this person the entire time. Devin. Devin was not shown tonight, but you heard his annoying voice the entire night.
That's a good point.
I felt like we saw a little bit of Devin.
No. They would literally show the entire group, like, but not him, and you would hear his voice.
You hear him while they're showing the rest of those clips.
Yes. You're just like, wait, where is he? So
God.
All right, MVP, LVP time.
Yeah, let's do it.
MVP LVB time for tonight's EP. What do we got? What's the order we are going to get? I'm thinking everybody's going to go Alex first, then Andy, then me is going to be my guess. But we'll see.
Do we think we'll see someone get eliminated next week?
Yeah, I think we're back. My question: do you guys think it's going to be guy-girl elimination, like so 2 eliminations, or are we just going 1 elimination each time?
Well, and like,
It could be a duo.
do you think there's going to be like era 2 is the winner of the daily, so they don't have to send anybody in, and then maybe they get to save another team? Because they did say in the previews, like, you have to have alliances between eras. So maybe they save one other era and then the other 2 have to vote. I don't know.
I just don't want eras versus era. Like, I don't want it. Like, I know tonight it was era versus era, or like the same team. I don't want this like battle of like the like invasion of the new champs, kind of like where they cannibalize themselves. Like, I think that's stupid. Like, I think
Agreed.
it needs to be like era 1 versus era 3, era 2 versus era 4,
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
I like the idea of doing 2 people from each, but competing in pairs for the elimination.
Ooh.
Because then it gives you even more consideration of who you want to keep, who you want to vote in. Because like the long-standing thought is simply who do you want to run a final with? And it can be good, can be bad. Like this person going to help us get there, or I don't want to see this person in the final. But I love the idea of who do I want to possibly be going into elimination with?
Yeah. All right, MVP, LVP. Looks like the order's Trev, Alex, Andy tonight. So I'll kick us off. MVP. My MVP tonight's going to be eliminations. I don't think it gets much better than this. We had 8 of them tonight, which I didn't even think was possible. We literally had 8. Yeah, clown face me. Whatever. 8 eliminations. That's got to be a challenge record. I think last season we literally had 8 eliminations by episode 9. And here we are, episode 2, or if you want to call this episode 3 with the 0, 1, 2 method, whatever you want to call it. I'm so happy we got 8 eliminations. Like I said, didn't think it was possible. Here we are. I'm happy. Let's keep the train going. The Theo train going. Choo choo. All right.
Well, I'm up next for MVP.
Yes.
I'm actually
hopping aboard. Choo choo.
I'm gonna go with it's fucking time. It is
Ooh.
time.
Wait. Just to clarify, Tony Reigns or Tony Time from the Chalk?
Not Tony Time from the Chalk. He's a little sketchy still. I'm going Tony motherfucking Reigns going in against Leroy in the Balls In. We made a commitment probably a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and we said if Tony ever comes back to the challenge, we're going to recap every episode that he does. He comes back for All Stars, so we're like, all right, we're going to try that out. You know, it's not the real challenge, but we're going to try recapping that. He does 2 episodes, right? He goes home on episode 2. And we stop recapping. We're pissed that he goes home that early. Now we get to see him back. And, Tony could like go home on the next episode, but at least, because, who knows how this format's going to be, but at least we have this moment. At least we have Tony going head to head against a big physical elimination guy in Leroy and just beating his ass. Like it was close, but it also wasn't that close. Like Tony was just in charge of that elimination. It's fucking time. Tony time. He is back. This is what we waited for. I'm going Tony.
Wow. Great pick.
Wow. Sounds like someone wants to hop on board with mine and your takes, Trev, of Tony just being the man,
He's the fucking dude. Andy, are you hopping aboard the other train, though?
The problem is I'm looking at 3 of my MVP picks that haven't been taken.
Interessante.
And I already know who my LVP is going to be. I have to. Choo-choo! Theo, I don't know his last name. The Theo train. MVP. Theo's awesome. He ran that motherfucker over. There's nothing. I honestly think it's probably my number one favorite thing that I enjoy about the challenge. We should do a Mount Rushmore about that. I love when someone doesn't start the shit talk, but ends it. Paulie trying to be that big little badass that he is. Oh, you don't like me. If you want me, call me out. All right, fine. I want Paulie. Runs him the fuck over. Unbelievable performance. I've always been a huge Theo guy. Trev, I know you are too. It's just, I'm glad to see him back. I've wanted him back for a while. I actually thought Theo had one eye before seeing him. He's got two. He's a beast. I love him. Great episode tonight. He did the entire show and all of the fans a massive, massive service by getting that little bitch boy Paulie off of this season. Which leads me to my LVP, said little bitch boy Paulie. He's just like a fucking Keebler elf. Like, he's just like punching around like, oh, I'm gonna get you. And it's like, dude, no, you're fucking not. Like, no one cares about you. Like, I know Kara's like a big horse girl, but like Paulie just reminds me of like not quite a pony, but like a mini horse from, I think Rob Deerdeck had a mini horse that's like a full grown horse.
Yeah.
It looks just like a pony. And it's like, that is Paulie. Like, that is Paulie. That's all he's ever going to be. He's just a little guy with a little attitude that like no one likes. There's plenty of reasons why. He's a piece of shit. He's a bitch. I have to take him here because guess what? I'm not going to get another chance to take him as LVP because he's fucking gone. Because he sucks at this show. He has a huge mouth. He has a little body. He has a big head. And Theo ran him the fuck over.
This might change my MVP pick for the night. Can you do the little Keebler elf impression one more time? I mean, that was
why I oughta Theo, I'm gonna get you. I love Cora. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Go home.
Andy, the chat is asking about his shirt.
The shirt was just like, are you trying to look homeless, or are you just like, do you think that's a good looking shirt? He's just, everything about him sucks. I also still stand on the worst thing that's ever happened to Kara in the challenge is Paulie. I think Paulie kind of ruined Paulie ruined Kara for me. He just infects everything that he can come in contact with. His shirt was atrocious. He's an ugly little guy, and I'm so glad we don't have to watch him again the rest of the season.
I thought you liked him after you went on his cruise. Like,
I kind of remember that.
You do, don't you, Alex? Like,
yeah. Watch it.
We sent him on the cruise. I think we took some donations after the challenge Moniacs decided to drop something for $7,000. We were just like, can we get $20 for Andy to go on the extravaganza? So, Alex, what do you got, LVP?
I think Paulie would probably been my pick. I'm going to go with Amanda.
Ooh.
Just an annoying little brat, just always trying to talk and just sort of like be the center of attention when you have just nothing to back it up with. Nothing at all. And I think probably what made me hate the little twist at the end even more than I probably should have is that like Amanda was one of the losers. And she was playing it up. Oh, it's karma. Like, watch out, Kara or Tori. Like, I'm going to give you a low score, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm just not looking forward to that little, like, 30 seconds of the episode next week. But I am looking forward to not having Amanda around anymore. I like all of the girls on Era 3 now. I'm glad to see Amanda go. So she's going to be my LVP.
Great pick.
Good pick.
Great pick. Another person, much like Paulie, I'm very happy we don't have to watch anymore.
My LVP, I was thinking about doing challenge Twitter, was thinking about Kara, but I think this might surprise people, but I do not envy this person. I think this person tonight, like, I would never wish upon anybody the amount of pain they went through. And my LVP is going to be Katie tonight.
Yep. Yep.
I think to go through that is just terrible. Like, I would rather go against Hallbraw against CT, like go against a pole wrestle against Derek. But doing that tonight, I mean, that's a war crime. Like, that is terrible. So my pick's going to be Katie tonight as my LVP.
So let me ask you this. Should she get MVP because she just simply survived?
Honorable mention MVP. It's a tip of the cap.
It really is.
Very
I love
Peter's nephew. Tip of the cap.
I love that pick. You really can't wish that upon most people. That actually was a form of torture back in, I think, the Roman times, and they ruled it out because it was too much. Like, they're fine doing everything else. They said, sure, if you want to waterboard somebody, go for it. But dear God, do not let Anissa do a pole wrestle against somebody.
That's where we draw the line. That's where we draw the line at Stir the Pod. Like,
correct.
I know we love seeing Hall Bras. We love seeing the violence, but I think that's the point right there. We
got to have some sort of sanity.
Yeah.
Can we rewatch it, or maybe you guys already know? Can we figure out who the exact person was that yelled out to the elimination, "Sit on her"? Somebody yelled for Anissa to sit on Katie as a means of winning the elimination.
Just an absurd line. I mean,
sit on her.
Was that pole wrestle the closest we've gotten aside or since the one chick who tried like unclipping the other person during, I think, a daily on top of a building? Is that the closest we've been to a fatality?
It's got to be awfully close.
I think so.
God. No. I mean, Wes going to the hospital against Leroy's up there. I mean, Wes getting carried up the mountain by Alex Guys Kenny. I mean, that was an all-time moment. Right, Alex?
Yes, I was all in.
All in.
God. All right. Do we have any honorable mentions? I've got 2.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I need your help. I don't know if this should be considered an MVP or an LVB, but psychics.
Oh, I think that's an MVP. Who's back of the week? Psychics.
Didn't Kellyanne say that her psychist said she was going to go home to someone who was younger and more in shape than she was?
Yes.
I want to know what she said about the dogs, because clearly this psychic is hitting. Now, granted, if it was the opposite and she's going to beat someone like that, clear LVB. But if they were right, I mean, I need to make a trip to 96th Street. She has 2. Why would you need a psychic for a dog?
You have a psychic for a psychic? I mean, that's awesome.
Friend of the pro.
I kind of like the psychic for a psychic.
Could you imagine? It's almost like that, Andy. You know, it's like the astronaut meme, like pointing the gun in space, and it's like behind. You know what I'm talking about? It's like that, but of psychics. It's a dream within a dream. We're back to Inception.
There's one top psychic that calls everything.
You know what they call that top psychic? It's just you, Andy. It's the puppet master.
It's the puppet master. I do have one other MVP that I honestly contemplated taking. Because in my opinion, this was the one, it was kind of a sneaky thing, but it could lead to some entertainment factor later on in the season. MVP of Love Triangles with Naya, Josh, and Kylan, my man. Did anyone else pick up on that? Where Naya wins, and then Kylan's like, she's so good looking, seeing her beat this, like she's I really want to like see what happens there. And then of course it cuts to the goof, and he's like, she's beautiful inside and out, and I really want to see what this can be and what this connection is. I'm sitting there thinking like, let's go. Nothing like the savior for those three people, Kylan, Josh, and Naya, like as their own people, they're not entertaining at all. I could care less about what's going on with them. But you put those three in a love triangle, and I'm in. I'm in.
Wow. God, Josh sucks. Friend of the program.
People forget that.
God. Anything else tonight? God, Theo beating Paulie, though, is just so fucking awesome. And the best part about that, too, was him just like kind of that stare down when he ran out and he just kind of like looked at him. It was very like Erlen Holland on Cucurella the other day. Like it was such a good moment.
You know how we were saying there's some lines that you don't cross? You just crossed one.
God. All right. Anything else on tonight's EP?
It was awesome. Me and Alex were the only two that had belief in the Era Invitational.
I did not.
We trusted the Era Invitational, and it fucking delivered.
The
Air
problem is,
Invitational was a really fun way to kick off the season.
God, we've done 3 episodes. Kick off the season. How many episodes do we need?
Trev's trying to not make Era Invitational a thing. It already is a thing, and
Air
it was
Invitational
great.
was awesome.
And Trev's
love
trying
it.
to make it not a thing.
I just love like, God, this was a great first episode. Yeah, after 3 hours and 50 minutes of the challenge. Like, come on.
Whoa, 3 hours and 40 minutes.
God,
Or,
whatever.
no. Yeah.
God, yeah, relax, Kelly School of Business Math.
Hey, episode
3.
episode 0 is episode 0.
Exactly.
That's not an episode.
So what episode are we on?
3.
Mikey did. I think
We're
Mikey
going
did
into episode 4.
Now we're in the round of 32. God, I don't know how much I got left in me, Teach. All right, anything else, boys?
Let's go. Is everyone else still as all in on this season as I am?
Yeah, I think this is like a great spot. That was an unreal comment, Tony time. But I am.
Hey,
I just-
you guys.
I just don't know how it lives up to this level again, and that's the only thing I'm worried about because this was fucking incredible. Like, can we get better than this?
Well, you know what? We still don't even know the real format of this
I
season.
don't know anything about it.
We know nothing.
Yeah, but we're just gonna wait for the season opener on episode.
So essentially, next week is episode 1. It really is.
God, after 5 hours and 20 minutes, we're gonna have the true like format of this game. EP1.
What- Is it possible that now that the Era Invitational is finished, they go to the daily and TJ says, "All right, the Era Invitational's done. Now it's time for like the Era regular season or for the Era, like blossoming or throw some other bullshit title for like the next 4 episodes."
I mean, at this point,
I wouldn't rule
I
it
hope
out.
they just keep using the Era Invitational though. Like I do kind of bulge at Mikey the Doctor's comment, like, welcome to the Era's Invitational, round of 32, presented by BK. Like, it's just it's awesome.
Does anyone know if they're making a new Puss in Boots movie anytime soon?
I'll say this. If Puss in Boots somehow comes back on my screen during the season, this will be the greatest season of all time.
Hands down.
They got to
Hands
bring back
down.
the OG sponsors.
God, please.
That's Era 5.
God. Wait, who's Era 0? We had episode 0. Who's Era 0? Wait till they start bringing in the multiverse. It's gonna be fucking ridiculousness. Deerdeck's gonna enter the game, and then they're gonna add Neve from fucking.
It's like the Anchorman
gonna
scene
be-
where
it's gonna be
where all the networks like come together and they start fighting each other.
like back in the day when they would do like the crossover cartoons where it was like Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents. It's gonna be an Era's team of like Rob Deerdeck, Chanel West Coast, and Steel Brim. They're going to be the mercenaries.
God.
And the walkout music, it's going to be all dark. Oh, who is it? Who is it? And then it's just going to be, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just gonna play that. Yeah, 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 yeah. You don't want to go home now. It's gonna be terrible.
God, all right.
All right, we done.
I think we're good.
Also, talking about knee from Catfish. You see, he got in a biking incident. He like broke his neck.
Yeah, that's like TJ.
No, the bike incident was not what happened. He did a pole wrestle against Anissa.
All right, we're done. We are done. Thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod episode. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at Stir_the